Thanks for staying with us. A few weeks ago on the show, we spoke about burnout as it pertains to healthcare workers. Today, we're talking about burnout for the rest of us. Whether you're caring for an ill family member or working long hours, continual exposure to stressful situations can lead to burnout. Christy Beck, a licensed therapist and the faculty supervisor of the HER Clinic at Penn State University, is back to help us recognize the signs. Hi, Christy.
Hi, Casey.
Well, let's define burnout.
Right, and so burnout is more than just your everyday stress. So burnout is kind of manifests itself physically, emotionally, mentally, where we're just these like prolonged periods of just utter exhaustion.
So who gets burnout? Because what you're saying is, even though we like to say, oh, I feel so burned out, it's more serious than that.
It is. And so, I mean, anybody can get burnout, but people that are more prone to it are people in the helping professions. So healthcare, childcare, people that have kids at home, as you mentioned, people that are taking care of maybe aging parents, like anybody that's in a helping capacity is more prone to burnout, but anybody can really get it.
So is burnout the same as depression? Are they separate? Do they coincide? How does that work?
Right. I mean, yeah, people with depression can get burnout just like anybody else, but depression is more organic, so that's the biochemical component. Depression can be treated with therapy and or medication, whereas burnout is more external. And so, there's not, of course you can, get in therapy and try to get some support for it, but there's not, say, a pill that's going to help you with burnout.
So how do we recognize it? How do we know it's not depression or something similar? How do we know it's burnout? Right.
And so we know it's burnout because of how long it lasts and also if it's kind of out of character for us. So people with depression kind of know that, this is typical of me. This is what's been going on with me. With burnout, at one point you didn't have these symptoms and now you can identify reasons why you're having these symptoms.
So what are some of the symptoms of burnout?
Right. So some of the symptoms are just exhaustion and not just like, oh, I'm tired, but like all day, every day, just being really exhausted. Isolation is another one, just, not doing the things that you used to like to do, just not having the energy to participate in that kind of stuff. Burnout can manifest itself in psychosomatic symptoms, so feeling physically ill, so, like thinking about going to work and then you're, oh my gosh, my head hurts, my stomach hurts, and, kind of no real reason for having these ailments, but, some kind of symptoms, or just getting sick really frequently because your body's so run down.
So when you start to feel these symptoms, what do we do, or can we prevent them?
We can prevent them, so that's the good news. So it's a lot of things we already know, right? So, eating well, sleeping well, exercising, like all those things that we already know. But other things that we can do are leaving work at work. So, at the end of the day, we're not taking work home. I think more recently, since a lot of us have been working remotely, that gets a little trickier. Mm-hmm. So when we're working from home remotely, figuring out how do I like put some kind of end at the end of my day? How do I define when the work day ends and, my after work time begins? But, trying to figure out a way to do that. Self-care exercises, doing things that fill you up. If we are so depleted, we can't give back. And so I say this to a lot of, people that are caregivers that like, I want to give. Well, if you have nothing left to give because you're so burnt out, you can't give back to others. And so filling yourself up is not, sometimes we think, oh, we're being selfish. It's not a selfish task. It's something that we need to do so that we can, perform at our best. Other things, just like unplugging completely. We're so attached to our phones, guilty as anybody else.
Guilty.
But, really taking that time because, when we always have our phones with us, we're always on.
Yeah.
And so, just taking that time, just like getting away from the food.
It.
Yeah, right? Right.
It's so hard. But Christy, thank you so much. Especially around the holidays, it's important to be aware of these sorts of things. So thank you for the advice. And the illumination. Still to come on Your Health Matters, the inspiring story of a local man and his journey to walk again after a spinal cord injury. But first, we're heading into the kitchen with the hidden hostess to make Christmas cookies. Stay with us.